Hey everybody, and welcome to a new video. And today we're going to talk about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the game. Now, I actually picked up a physical copy of this game, and I know this is a multiplayer online game, so that means that you have to have online for it. Pretty much the game is a coffin if online ever goes away. And I understand that, but I got it more as a novelty because, I love the cover art for one thing. And for another thing, we're kind of switching this game up. Instead of playing Dead by Daylight, we're going to play this game as our main game from now on. It's that fun. So, we need a switch from Dead by Daylight because that game is like, I want to say 7-8 years old now. They're still like just adding on content instead of like making a new game. So we need something new, and this game is it. Now, for those of you that know me, you guys know I like playing survival horror games. So I like playing as the victims pretty much, the person trying to survive the crazy event. So pretty much I haven't really played the family that much, but I have played the victims, and I love how their scenario starts. Now usually, all the time you start pretty much hanging. You have to kind of like get out of the traps that you're in without making too much sound, because the game really goes off sound. You make too much noise, they will hear you and see you, and they will come after you, especially the cook. Now, first thing I want to do is start off like talking about the game by category. So first we'll start with graphics. Graphically, the game looks great, even though you're in disgusting environments. Obviously, you're in the Sawyer house, and you guys have seen how those looked in the movie, the basement, all that stuff. It's pretty gross. But other than that, I mean, the developers really got everything down, and you feel like you're pretty much in the movie pretty much. And when you're trying to survive, it gets very dramatic because you do not want to get killed by any of the family because it's pretty brutal, especially the freaking Leatherface. Now, as of the game's release, we have 3 locations. We have the slaughterhouse, the family house, and the gas station. And there's variations of day and night. So, depending on which part you play, things can play out differently, I would say. But it's always, I want to say very unnerving because you never know how things are going to turn out because it gets pretty crazy depending on where you start at. Now, going into the game sound, sound is one of the most essential things in this game because you have to be very quiet because anything you set off, they will hear. And one of the crazy things is like waking up their grandpa pretty much. You wake him up. I mean, if he levels up, man, it's like there'll be no place to hide. So you have to be very careful whether they get to level him up or not, or whether he can hear you. Because if you're moving when he's listening for you, it lets the Sawyers know where you're at, and they will come after you with a quickness. But sometimes you'll be in a bad situation where you're injured and you have to keep moving to get to the exit. Yeah, I understand those moments. I had a couple cinematic moments while playing this game where I had to jump through the window and try to escape. So pretty crazy stuff. But just remember that the sound is one of the most key things in this game. Being quiet is your best bet to survive. Now, the controls for this game were pretty terrible for me. That's because I was playing on a keyboard on my computer because I was using Game Pass when I first started this game. The reason I was playing on Game Pass because I wanted to test the game to see if it was worth getting. I thought I could hook my controller up to it, but my drivers were out of date, so I was having trouble playing with a regular controller. I did eventually buy the game, a physical, which was hard to find because GameStop only had one. But once I got a controller in my hands, everything felt great because I was finally escaping the killers. I was doing things right. I wasn't making really too many mistakes. Whereas while I was playing with the keyboard, I was clumsy. I was getting caught. It was just hilarious. But the controls feel very good for the game, especially playing as the victims. I think everything flowed very well. I was able to move around a lot, get out of certain situations. So I think the controls for the game are very well done. So going into the fun of the game obviously is a lot of fun because if it wasn't, I wouldn't be doing a video about it. If you're playing with friends and you can communicate with each other, it is great. Playing with randoms on the Game Pass was actually pretty fun. Playing with randoms on the PS5, I had a lot of disconnects. People were putting us in bad positions. These people didn't know how to play the game. They were just antsy, making noise. It was pretty messed up, and the way you survive this game is by, stick it. Well, I mean, you don't have to really stick together in this game. You could do your own thing and survive, which is probably sometimes a better thing to do depending on the situation. But overall, the game is definitely a lot of fun. It's definitely an improvement over a game like Friday the 13th, where that game went all over the place with, people randomly coming in, messing the game up. It's harder to do it in this one unless they just disconnect, but still you have a good chance to survive. The killers are pretty insane. I was having trouble with Misty at first, but now it's Johnny that gives me a lot of trouble. So him, the hitchhiker, the cook, and then of course Leatherface. Leatherface I haven't really had too much trouble with, but Johnny, man, when he's on the map, you got to be careful because he'll follow your footprints, and next thing you know, you turn around, he'll be right in your face. So other than that, what I've talked about, I feel like the game has a lot of potential to bring a lot more fans in it, especially if they bring more killers from certain movies into it as downloadable content, which I'm pretty sure they're working on. This is going to be one of our main games from now on. I think we're going to retire Dead by Daylight. At least I'm saying that now. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I definitely think it's a good multiplayer game, co-op game that people would like to play. Now, as far as playing as the killers, we played as them once, and it wasn't my thing. I feel like they're overpowered or whatever like that. But I like playing as a survivor, so I feel like we're gonna do that mostly. But we may change it up for the people who watch our streams. We'll see how it goes. But definitely a good co-op game to play. Definitely, I think it's worth picking up. Also, I promise this game will be in the next pickups video. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Give this game a chance if you have a chance to play it. If not, just watch some streams on YouTube. But anyways, guys, that's all I got for you. Radical Reggie, and I will see you all later.